I am Dr. Ratio, a scholar and teacher of the Intelligentsia Guild, and one of the mediocres.
Dr. Ratio is a member of the Intelligentsia Guild. He is a 5-star limited hunt imaginary unit which specialized in big single target damage and follow-up attack. His technique creates a statue that taunts nearby enemies for 10 seconds. Entering battle with taunted enemies have a 100% base chance to reduce each enemy's speed by 15% for 2 turns. His basic attack smacks an enemy with a book, dealing imaginary damage of 50% to 100% of his attack. When using skill, there is 40% fixed chance to launch a follow-up attack dealing imaginary damage equal to 135% to 270% of his attack. Each debuff on the enemy increases the chance of follow-up attack by 20%. His skill deals imaginary damage to a single enemy equals to 75% to 150% of his attack. His ultimate deals imaginary damage to a single enemy equal to 144% to 240% of his attack and marks the enemy. When ally attacks marked enemy, he launches follow-up attack and can be triggered 2 times. The first trace, when he uses skill, every debuffs increases his crit rate by 2.5% and crit damage by 5% stacks up to 6 times. The second trace, when he uses skill, he has 100% base chance to reduce the target effect residential by 10% for 2 turns. The third trace, when attacking target that has more than 3 debuff, each debuff increase damage dealt by 10% up to 50%. E1, increase trace 1 summation up to 10 stack. E2, follow-up attack deals additional imaginary damage equal to 20% of his attack for each debuff the enemy has. Up to 4 times. E4, follow-up attack regenerates 15 energy. E6, increase ultimate mark by 1 and increase damage dealt of follow-up attack by 50%. Dr. Ratio signature light cone, baptism of pure thought gives crit damage. For every debuff on the enemy, increase crit damage up to 3 times. After using ultimate, increases damage dealt and follow-up attacks ignore target's defense. Last for 2 turns. Possible set are 2 piece of Ash Blazing Grand Duke, and 2 piece of imaginary set, Musketeer, or Prisoner in Deep Confinement. Or if you want to go all in on follow-up attack, go for piece of Ash Blazing Grand Duke. Dr. Ratio is a great boss killer with one of the biggest damage potential. Dr. Ratio is definitely a great unit for people that don't have an imaginary DPS or single target DPS.